listen, we got to send a man on a horse with a sword and a top hat, the whole like red coat, whatever, I don't know, something, you catching my drift here, to his house, to Obama's house, knock on the door with a freaking long ass piece of paper that scrolls down, a scroll, and someone has to read it to him. Former President Barack Obama, you are summoned to the White House for the. And he needs to be hung. No, not really. Jailed, at the very least. But back then, they'd hang him. I mean, they would be at his home with fucking lanterns of flame on horseback, knocking on his door saying, "You committed high treason. You have to be sentenced to death." It is July 23rd, 2025, Wednesday. This is Anthony Dell. Tonight, got a great show in store for us today. A couple things we got to cover here. The second edition of the show. If you didn't catch the first one, go check it out. It was a blast. Plan on doing this once a week, every Sunday, 9 p.m. We'll be doing new episodes of this show. Really, really happy to be doing this. Yeah, a lot of things to cover here, and I just want to get straight into it. As you can see, I have my papers, so I look like the one. I look like the one with the knowledge, the one who's the wizard. Like if you ever watch Alex Jones and he has all the papers at the desk and he has the aerial view, maybe we'll put that in. If I get to that level, that's the thing. I got to have the intel like Mr. Jones there. So, second edition here. Like I said, if you haven't seen the first, go watch the first. You'll know what the show is all about. Covers a little bit of everything. Um, it's like a late night show type of vibe, hence the name. But let's get right into this relevant article here. The late night show collapse. This one is bittersweet in many, many ways. So, CBS has canceled the Stephen Colbert show. We learned this earlier this week. I believe it was like on Monday or so. Um, so it comes to a surprise, honestly, because these late night shows on these network television things have been around for so long. They're such a staple for these networks. But it's not like when I first saw the article, I was like, oh, they're probably just getting rid of Stephen Colbert. No, they're getting rid of the late night show altogether. Will not be a thing anymore going forward, for the foreseeable future, which is just such a great. It could be a surprise to a lot. Is it a surprise to me? Not so much. I wouldn't have expected it to be this to be so soon for this to happen. But nonetheless, here we are. Um, so let's take a look at the relevant article here. Get some information. So CBS announces it will take Stephen Colbert off the air, which is very interesting, man. It's starting to come together here. So the cancellation marks the end of a long tradition of original late night programming on CBS, a legacy that began in 1993 when the network hired David Letterman away from NBC, according to Variety. CBS executives explained that the decision is rooted in the growing economic pressure facing the industry. That's one way to put it. Sure. We consider Stephen Colbert irreplaceable and will retire the Late Show franchise in May of 2026. So there's still some time there to maybe change the course here. But CBS executives said in a statement, Variety reported, "We are proud that Stephen called CBS home. He and the broadcast will be remembered in the pantheon of greats." Come on. I mean, come on. You want to talk about a glaze? I mean, here's the thing. Wait, this is purely a financial decision against the challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. Cap. You're lying. That's complete BS. Here's the thing. We've been seeing the collapse of these late night shows since the 20 teens. You know what I mean? It was really started to phase out like 2015, 16 as Trump got in, and we saw this weird flamboyant actions on all late night talk shows across the board. They kind of all spewed the same opinions and had the same feelings about the matter. It was very robotic. Didn't seem real. But here we go. It's the final gasp. It's the final breath um for these shows. I mean, and everyone's thinking, like what is next for these programs, because we've always been saying, people have always been saying now that that you hear the chit chat, legacy media is dying, it's not as popular anymore, no one really cares to watch, NBC, CBS, all these CNN, Fox News, all with, all those programs. So it's kind of like, where is it going? Well, we won't know where it's going until it's gone. So they're getting rid of them, and they say it's purely financial. The show sucked. The show nobody watched. Nobody watched. I mean, let's take a look here. How many people watch the late night show? How many people watch the late night show? In the second quarter of 2025, the late night show with Stephen Colbert averaged 2.4 million viewers, while Jimmy Kimmel Live averaged 1.8 million, and the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon had 1.2. I There's just no way. There's just no way that people actually really tuned in and watched that shit, because it just wasn't even funny. I mean, are they considering these views also based off like the all the social media posts that they do as well, or is it just strictly cable views? Like, give me a break. Give me a break. There's just people watching reruns. Like, who's doing these numbers? Who's doing these numbers? I'm calling bullshit on these numbers. No one cared for the show. The jokes were corny, flat, dry, not their real opinions. It was just oversaturated by boards of writers in the same room, all towing a narrative that they had to tow because that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's how that industry works. And I think, he was making something like $15 million a year. But of course, this matter doesn't go unnoticed without a comment by President Trump himself. Let's take a look what the president had to say. Donald Trump via Truth Social, I guess X. The word is, and it is a strong word at that, Jimmy Kimmel's next to go in the untalented late night sweepstakes, and shortly thereafter, Fallon will be gone. These are people with absolutely no talent who were paid millions of dollars for, in all cases, destroying what used to be great television. It's really good to see them go, and I hope I played a major part of it. So he's just not even holding back. He doesn't really give a shit. I mean, look, am I hoping for their downfall? No. I don't really hope for anybody's downfall. Do I think that they absolutely have no talent? No, I wouldn't say they have no talent, because I think at the end of the day, they have to show up Monday through Friday, and they're part of that writing team and they're putting in the work. But damn, you're not funny. You're just not funny. And it's just like out of touch. It's really not, there's no substance there. I mean, when was the last time you spoke with somebody? You catch the late night show last night? No. Who says that? Who says that? I mean, it was the same thing with like SNL too. SNL was falling off. And then people are like, you have Shane Gillis on and you right the ship because he's actually funny. You know what I mean? Really, he's not trying to please anybody or do a certain thing or is afraid to say anything. He kind of just does his thing and he's a comedian. So this is the collapse of mainstream television before our very eyes. The future is this, what I'm sitting here doing right now. I think I suck at it right now. But if you're here watching, that's what's up. I'll get better. You know what I mean? Things will expand, but a lot of these shows are just gone, and it's replaced by, like you could still call them podcasts, but I think they're all shows. The Joe Rogan Experience, that's a show. It's the people he has on, they just talk and talk for hours, and people, the Lex Friedmans of the world, and Andrew Huberman. I mean, they're all just shows in their own niche, in their own thing. And if you're somebody who you think has a voice and can, put together a good show, then that's what this is, man. The floodgates are opening. It used to really be a gatekeeping process. You really had to, have an in. You had to really be a comedian. You had to be an actor, out there in Hollywood trying to do something, be somebody, blase, blase, all the above. And hopefully you'd land. Oh my God, I landed the late night show. In the case of like Jimmy Fallon, maybe, he was acting, SNL, all these things. Stephen Colbert had a different show. And then, but of course there's the people, I'm forgetting his name. Why am I forgetting his name? One of the other late night talk show guys, but he's on Comedy Central instead. Um, Damn. Wow, this is a crazy blank. Um, I want to say John. What the hell was his name? There was a late show with the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. That's who it was. Damn. And they replaced him with Trevor Noah, who's again just not funny. Jon Stewart was witty, funny, you know, quick. Like the show was excellent. I remember watching that when I was younger, and it was like I was like, this is great. Everybody always talked about that show. Granted, it's on Comedy Central, so he's again like his range to do more is a lot wider than what Stephen Colbert's might be. I mean, we don't know what it is behind the scenes. And let me tell you something. If there really isn't anybody telling him what he can and can't say, and he's just doing that, it's just not good, man. Like it's just not like no one feels you. No one agrees. No one agrees. All right, it's not the bee's knees. We got to do better than whatever that was for years and years. I mean, how many things have we seen like with Fallon and he's dancing with like the freaking vaccine stuff and they're like doing the vaccine, they're like VAX VAC vaccine COVID-19. Like who's who paid you, bro? How much did they pay you? And we're gonna get some of that money. Right. Enough of that really, right? Who gives a shit? I don't care. No one cares about them. But we care about this man right here. I want to get into this week, yesterday, actually. Um, we learned that the lead singer for Black Sabbath and insane solo act, Ozzy Osbourne, passed away at 76. I always thought he was much older. Um, you know, does it come as a surprise? Not necessarily. Given his past, we all know what Ozzy was like. Eating the heads off bats, doing cocaine, and all the above for years and years and years. Takes a toll on the body. We still don't know the cause of death though, but it was his family and his estate that put out the message saying that he did pass away. I mean, just an absolute legend, and just worth mentioning. He was the Prince of Darkness. I've always said this about him too, because I grew up listening to a lot of Ozzy, and you know, both parents are musicians. Both of them played Black Sabbath cover bands. Electric shit, quite literally. So the connection here is strong, and a bunch of other people feel this way too. I think when he did his last show recently, there was like 40 plus thousand people at the stadium, and then there was like something like 5 million people streaming it all over the world. So I mean, his impact is is just absolutely incredible. And it's sad, but at the same time, he was suffering towards the end there. He did have Parkinson's. Um, I've heard some rumors that he did like assisted suicide somewhere in the Sweden, one of those countries that allow that shit. No wonder everybody is happy there. There's always a way out. But let's take a look here. Wonder how old everyone is there. Yeah. Cracked out. I don't care what Joe Fryer has to. Who's Joe Fryer? Who's Joe Fryer? You don't think I could do that guy's voice narrating? Ozzy Osbourne dead at 76 and it's left with a heart. Give me a break, man. Who talks like that? Anyway, Prince of Darkness, dude, on his way out. Absolute fucking legend. I mean, yeah. Who doesn't want to bite the head off a bat and be like, I thought it was a toy. Sharon, I'm the Prince of fucking Darkness. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, 76. I mean, given all of his activity and you'd think he'd be gone sooner. But I was literally thinking about it like I want to say like earlier this month. I was like because I was listening to Sabbath and I was like, damn, dude, Ozzy's still kicking. I was like, that's gonna be crazy when he goes. And it is. It's fucking nuts. You know? They put it out on Facebook. Here's a great interview with Ozzy. Yeah. I kind of need this book.
what's this pill? What's that pill? Is this any good? Oh, yeah. I mean, I've sampled quite a variety. And so I thought it would be funny to do a spoof on that. So in some ways, this is a perfect job for you. You know, ignorance is the biggest killer. Oh, it's a lump under my arm. Go see your doctor. You know, that's what they're there for. But in some ways, who better to give a man who has survived 40 years of drug use, infamous run-in, the back? Your advice for somebody to write about? Don't even try. See, every action has a reaction. Okay, you bite the head off something, you gotta have some shots. That ain't cool. When I took them rabies shots, it was like somebody shoving a golf ball in my.
Yo.
And he's seen his fair share of doctors.
Ozzy the doctor. If I could have one doctor, it'd be fucking Ozzy. What doctor is he seeing, dude? Look at this guy. Who was that guy? Ozzy's doctor has the headgear on with the mirror. That's like some medieval shit. Only he would fucking have that shit. You know, but I saw like a more, recent interview as well, where he's just you know, talking about how much pain he's in. And you don't want that, and he's discussing how much of a burden he feels like he's become on his family, and how hard how hard it's been for him, and even other footage I saw of him, he was using a workout band just to kind of like get some strength in his arm so that he can just sign his name on some records and and some posters. You don't want to live like that. So I wouldn't be surprised, if he moved on his own terms, like the Prince of Darkness would. He definitely did sign a contract, by the way, with the devil. I mean, there's no doubt. There's no fucking doubt. You just look at the artwork, look at just the things he sings about. It's just so obvious. Signed it away. And who knows where he's at? But he's somewhere. He's somewhere. Yep. And moving on here. So the Secret Service agents, this is a big switch up here. The Secret Service agents that were at the Trump shooting have received the Secret Service agents received suspensions after the Trump shooting. This is low key a big deal, and not enough people are talking about this one. So obviously, as we all know, um, a little over a year ago, the Trump shooting occurred in Butler, PA. Secret Service agents are now facing suspension finally. And, it only took a whole year to figure this out. And, there's still so many questions from that day. Like, what really happened that day? Who is this Thomas Crooks guy? Why was he on that roof? How did he get on the roof? There's just too many questions, and it doesn't seem like anybody really cares, including, in my opinion, the president himself. So, 6 Secret Service agents suspended over security shortcomings in Trump assassination attempt. The disciplined agents, who included both supervisory and line agents, faced suspensions ranging from 10 to 42 days, according to ABC News. Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was shot by Secret Service counter snipers after firing at Trump from a rooftop, took the life of a firefighter, Corey I don't want to mess up his name. Compertori, and injured several others on July 13th, 2024. The then presidential candidate was struck in the ear by a bullet as he was speaking to supporters. We all know about this. So here's a quote: "We aren't going to fire our way out of this," you SSS Deputy Director Matthew Quinn said, according to CBS News. "We're going to focus on the root cause and fix the deficiencies that put us in that situation." So they're placed in restricted roles for now. I mean, how did it take this long? I mean, this administration just got in. No other administration would have done it. The Harris administration would have not really looked into this that much. But I get the sense that this administration isn't really looking into it either. You haven't heard anything about it. He doesn't sit there and he goes, "Who shot me?" He never wonders. Or maybe I mean, look, I'm sure he does. If I had to get in the mind, if I had to be in his mind, yeah, he probably sits there sometimes at night when he's up at fucking 4 a.m. He's like, "Ugh, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? Some kid got on a roof and shot me?" The craziest thing from that whole era when that was going on was the people who are able to sit there and say that it was staged. I bet you there's still a good percentage of people walking out there thinking that that was staged. And if you think that, you're just an absolute moron. There's no other way to put it. How do you stage shooting somebody in the head? You can get Chris Kyle, you can get the best marksmen in the world, snipers, whoever it might be. No one no one would dare try to simulate that shot. I mean, this was like a divine intervention that bullet did not kill him. The whole thing of, he could have he looked at the screen, he could have not looked at the screen, but he did. Um and he just calls it the chart saved my life. I mean, yeah, dude, essentially. And then it just people are psychotic, man. It's rich to me when and look, you can like him, not like him, policy wise, whatever, but you can't when he says things like, I think I survived for a purpose, grace of God, thank God I'm alive, and you call him, oh, look at him, he's full of himself. You'd be saying the same shit if a bullet fucking nearly took your head off. Like who wouldn't say that? If I survived a near death experience, I'd be like, thank God. There must, I should have been dead, but I'm not. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. We got to find out more about this Thomas Crooks guy because the initial rumors was this kid was in a BlackRock commercial. You know a lot about BlackRock, just nefarious company, weird ties, weird intents. Not a fan. But we don't really hear about this guy. We don't hear about, or this kid, I should say, rather. He was so young. Um, his family, nothing. We don't hear anything about it at all. Um, and it still holds true that on the day when FBI raided his house, um, it was completely scrubbed. It was completely scrubbed. Not a single thing of furniture, not a single speck of anything like someone lived there. Not even like forks in the drawer to fucking eat spaghetti. Nothing. There was nothing there. I mean, it screams. I mean, it's very. This is not a solo act. This is a group effort to try to take him out. And it happened again at his golf course with that other gentleman who allegedly was also in a BlackRock commercial. And it's all just too fishy. It's all too fishy. I mean, we know Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. I mean, that's obvious as day. I mean, those documents are released. I have them right here. Imagine I'd be the one. But no, it's just the whole thing's a disaster. The whole thing's a mess. And there doesn't seem to be this whole thing about accountability. There's no accountability for everything that occurred on that day. It's very, very odd. Just very, very odd. That Thomas Crooks guy, he looks like a friggin' gerbil. He looks like a gerbil. He looks like he never shot a gun in his life. But then again, he was on the freaking rifle team at school. Why didn't my school have a rifle team? I didn't have a rifle team. State of New York, baby. Whole lot of hoopla. Can't have a rifle team? That's a bunch of BS. It's against my Second Amendment right, dude. I want a fucking rifle team on my school. At my school. All right? We had guards guarding the door with no guns. What are they going to do? Yell? Hey, don't There's a guy. Some use you are, dude. Very, very weird. We expect answers. We expect answers. We also, what are we gonna do? You know, I I feel like the theme here is that everything is for show. All these back and forths, comments, between politicians and just heavy opinions and all the fine inner workings. It's all theater. This whole thing is theater. Nothing really matters. This could matter though. This next piece here, I'd like to get into, but I also feel like, hey, it could be theater, and I'm falling for it once again. So, Miss Tulsi Gabbard fires back. She's back from the dead. I totally gave up on her because she sat in front of Congress and she said, "We have evidence on Epstein, all this stuff. Don't worry, there is a client list. We're going to release it." We all know how that worked out. I talked about it last episode. If you missed it, check it out. But she's back again, and she has in my opinion, just as big of a bombshell as just as big as a bombshell as one could imagine. So, yeah, Tulsi, man, she fires back. Tulsi Gabbard makes serious allegations that the Obama administration coordinated and conducted um, the accusations about Trump during the 2016 election, which was the whole Russiagate hoax, all that jazz. Um, but the biggest question here is, again, accountability. Like, you can sit here and we can watch these videos and we can go through all the shit, but are we gonna hold people accountable or not? Because let me digress. Let's take a look here. This is Tulsi on Fox.
Directly. So people say, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. He's doing the papers are selling. The papers came from the office. They said everything to be highly classified, released. What he did in 2016 is very level. President Trump today calling out former President Obama after DNI Tulsi Gabbard sent a criminal referral to the DOJ related to her that Obama-era officials manufactured and politicized intelligence to create the Russia collusion narrative. 16. Intelligence that those officials have said they had great confidence. The director of national intelligence, C. Gabbard. Director Gabbard, give me your response to what we heard from former President Obama there. He's saying that none of this makes any sense, that this is a distraction. What do you say? It's a deflection. Former President Obama still in contact. Really all basically saying that exact statement, which doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail. These are documents that we released last week, documents that we later this week that laid out in introduction to this segment is that the intelligence community one assessment that Russia did not have the ability to try to U.S. election leading up to the election. The same assessment was made after Donald Trump by the American president Hillary Clinton, and it wasn't until after that pulled document that the Principals Committee called National Security Council. President Obama then directed his Obama-Zodian create this new intelligence assessment that detailed if, but how, doubt U.S. election. So this is the thing that I think people should pay attention to. Is either the message from President Obama's office, either the statements Democrats
Right. Tulsi, we know. This does make I mean, like, this makes Watergate look like a walk in the park. I mean, this is, if this is true, which I do believe it to be true, it's been stated and talked about since 2016. Um, that early on, there was something about the whole Russia hoax, and that's exactly what it was. It was a hoax, um, propagated by that administration previously, who lied to President Trump and said, "Oh, we'll do a peaceful um, transition of power, and you'll come right in, and it'll be great as always for everybody." No, no, not this time. So essentially, in my dumbed down version here, my dummy dumbed down version here, because yeah, dumb. Essentially, the lady here, Tulsi Gabbard, has unearthed evidence that in 2016, when Trump won the election, President Obama, coordinated with a bunch of other folks, a bunch of other Democrats in his cabinet, people that he's worked with, Comey, Clapper, all these people, Clintons, um, to propagate a lie that the election was stolen and that Donald Trump colluded with Russia in order to win the election and steal it from Hillary Clinton. Um, and if they had it their way, I'm sure their grand plan was, let's push this thing so hard at everybody and shove it down everyone's throat to the point where we completely legitimize Trump, make him look bad, untrustworthy to begin with, and hopefully, if it plays out in their way, maybe he won't even fully get into office because it'll catch on like wildfire, which in many ways it kind of almost did. A lot of people were spinning that narrative. And you know what that is? That's treason, baby. That's high treason. You are interfering with the transition of power. You're trying to hold on to power. Treason, baby. Treason. You know what should happen right now? If I had it my way. If I had it my way, okay, and I'm working with Tulsi. I'm sitting in the room, I got a suit on, and I'm like, listen, we gotta send a man on a horse with a sword and a top hat, the whole like red coat, whatever, I don't know, something, you catching my drift here, to his house, to Obama's house, knock on the door with a freaking long ass piece of paper that scrolls down, a scroll, and someone has to read it to him. Former President Barack Obama, you are summoned to the White House for the. And he needs to be hung. No, not really. Jailed, at the very least. But back then they'd hang him. I mean, they would be at his home with fucking lanterns of flame on horseback, knocking on his door saying, "You committed high treason. You have to be sentenced to death." I mean, that's what it was. That's what they would do. But that's not going to happen. No accountability. No accountability. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here's Caroline Levitt on the matter as well. Obama was leaving office in 2018. He conspired with the intelligence community to cook up a fake intelligence report and leak it to the press that Donald Trump, and it was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign. Meanwhile, Obama was going to the cameras publicly saying that we support a peaceful transfer of power. I watched a clip weekend saying, I'm going to do everything I can to help Donald Trump come in. That's how our country will be successful. He said that to President Trump's face in the Oval Office during that transition period. Meanwhile, he was holding secret meetings in the White House with top law enforcement intelligence officials to put out this fake intelligence and mislead the American public. And really, what they were trying to do is muddy the waters at the very beginning of the president's administration to lead to these all of the smears and the lies that were told about the president that unfortunately so It's very, very true. Very well said, Caroline. Very, very well said, Caroline. Very, very well said, Caroline. Basically, what I said. She's just copying me. Look, it could go on and on. It can go on and on. And they did this, and we did this, and they did that, and we did this. Oh, they did that, and oh no, they did that. That wasn't us. That was them. The children, Epstein? No, that was them. That wasn't me. I'm not on that list. You're on that list. Back and forth. All this bullshit. Here's President Trump on the matter as well. Might as well, right? Let's see what he has to say.
Should be talking about. They caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country, 2016, starting in 20, going up all the way, going up to the election. They tried to rig the election. They got caught, and there should be very severe consequences. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not let's not go too far here. Ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was terrible. Let her off the hook. I'm very happy I did, but it's time to start after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly, so people say, "Oh, you know, a group." It's not a group. Obama, his orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The be highly classified. Highly classified. It's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. Criminal at the highest level. So that's really the thing. Which are the
Here's a good question. If he is doing all these nefarious activities, right? If they're all doing all that weird shit over there and they're trying to undermine the transition of power, um, why would they have it all documented? What is with that? Why is everything on paper? If I was scheming, I wouldn't write it all down. You know what who we're gonna try to undermine the transition of power. Let me put my name on the paper. They're never gonna see this. I mean, did they think like that's why I'm like sitting here and I'm like, is this, are they just pointing at them like they pointed at him? Are they making this up? I don't know. I haven't forged for the documents myself. I haven't seen the paper that he's talking about with the signature. Oh, but I'll take it in good faith. I'll take it in good faith, I guess. I guess. It's just, man, we just, look, nothing matters. None of this matters. None of this theater matters until people are in jail or hung for treason by a guy on a horse with a sword and a scroll. Guy on a horse with a sword and a scroll. Hang him for treason. I think it's the only way. I think it's the only way, Makes the most sense, in my opinion. Hang him for treason. Let's see one more here. More recently, what Tulsi Gabbard had to say on the matter. That's all we got to hear. No intent, or I wouldn't. Can't tell me they had no capability. Get the fuck out of here. Of course they did. They can do whatever they want. Kidding me? They got spies. They got fucking technology. They got phones. I don't know. They do fucking farming, bot farming. Why can't they rig elections? I don't know. That's a bunch of BS. You know? But coming out of the woodworks. Coming out of the woodworks is the man himself. The artist. The entrepreneur. The philanthropist. The family man himself. The tender lover himself. Hunter Biden is alive. And he's speaking to none other than the man who runs Channel 5 News. I forget his name, but he's the man. Goes around to cities, interviewing people on the street, all these things. Next level content. Here's Hunter Biden, interviewed by Channel 5, saying that the laptop doesn't exist.
Thinks this is right? Who thinks it's right that every picture that you've ever taken, the ones that you would be embarrassed by and the ones that you would be proud of, should be on a website controlled by a guy that is Christo-fascist fucking incel that lives in Indiana or Illinois? I forget which one.
Let's hope Indiana, because it's worse.
And so, but again, I get these discussions where, well, their laptop really doesn't exist, but what is it? Like, you go down these rabbit holes and you do exactly what they say. As long as they say laptop loud enough, often enough, you automatically, and Hunter Biden, crack, cocaine, and, here's the picture. Here he is shirtless, smoking crack in a bathtub. And, I keep flashing that over and over again. And I say Hunter Biden, laptop, Ukraine, China, Hunter Biden, laptop, bird flu. Like, literally, you keep doing that over and over and over again. What? Like, none of it bears any resemblance to reality. Who thinks this is right?
What the hell are you talking about, dude? There's literally pictures, we're looking right at them, of you smoking crack with hookers. And it all comes from this laptop that you're putting air quotes around. What are you talking about, man? Just lean into it. Your dad's mentally gone, unfortunately. Or fortunately for you, I don't know. You did crack at the White House. Just lean into it. Lean into the act. Lean into, you know what? I do like crack, and I do like hookers, and I think I'm a damn good artist, and I think my art is real. That's what he should be doing. Not that you really gotta sit. This one guy has pictures of me. It's not fair. Yeah, well, dude, you fucked up. Yeah, like, what are you talking about, man? Everybody messes up. Everybody messes up. Everyone has, like, not everyone, but people have those stories. Oh, I sent something I shouldn't have sent, or said something I shouldn't have said, or done something I shouldn't have done. Yeah, this is your ultimate done something shouldn't have done. You got a guy with a fucking French hat on his head that has your shit now, and he's just doesn't give a shit about you. Why would he, bro? You smoked crack. You did the crack, and that you did other stuff too. It's not just crack. Just he needs to lean into it. Someone needs to tap him on the shoulder. Hey, Hunter. Listen, we know you're upset. We know this is not what you intended. You know, you're trying to still do the scrambling and the cover up. It's been years. It's been like 4 years since this story broke about your laptop. I think it's in our best interest to lean into it. Let's be the fun guy, the son of the politician who said, "Fuck you, Dad. I'm going to do my own thing." And you do art, and you visit China, and you do a little crack once in a while, and you are off the hinges, and you're fun, you're cool. That's what he should be doing. Not all this, oh my gosh, no, this laptop. What? Like, we don't know what you're talking about or something? Like, it's, people don't forget. People don't forget you did crack cocaine. People don't forget. But let me tell you something. It's not all lost here. He made some very, very good points that I must say. So, in another video, um, he says some great stuff about the current administration, which I actually tend to agree with. Let's check this out.
These motherfuckers?
With Trump Mobile, we're going to be introducing an entire package of products.
They're selling gold telephones and sneakers and $2 billion investments in golf courses and selling tickets to the White House for investment into their meme coin.
Overnight, President Trump returning to the White House after a black tie gala for the biggest buyers of the Trump crypto coin.
The Qataris give him a jet, and the Emiratis put $2 billion into their cryptocurrency, and the Saudis are going to build a tower. And I mean, by the way, that's just what we see. And I even hate mentioning my name in that because either I am the biggest fucking moron on the face of the earth, or like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, what is Fox News talking about? Anybody that mentions my name in Crime Family in the same, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, if you believe the worst possible thing that they've ever said about me, what they are openly doing, they're openly doing. And nobody's batting an eye. Don Jr. is opening a club called the Executive Club in Georgetown, in which it is promised that you will be able to rub shoulders at the cost of a $500,000 initiation fee.
The $500,000 membership fee would make it the most expensive private membership club in the country after Mar-a-Lago.
To join the club with people and decision makers in the cabinet of his father.
Now, the launch party on Saturday night included a who's who from the Trump cabinet with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Attorney General Pam Bondi, SEC Chair Paul Atkins, Dr. Oz, and a lot of others.
What is that other than literally the sale of influence? And by the way, that's just like a side thing. I don't get why people don't understand that it is the biggest grift that there is. And just look over here. Look at Hunter Biden, the crack addict. Look at him. Laptop. Meanwhile, these
Nice try, Hunter. I'm not forgetting about the crack top. Everybody wants to talk about the crack top, but he makes such a good point here. Yeah, like, what is all this shit? Gold phone, gold shoes, the plane, who doesn't want access to that club, though? 500 grand? Rubbing shoulders with the who's of the who's and the where's when's? You make a lot of shit happen if you got 500 shekels, let me tell you. But no, those are great points to be made. But then he shoots himself in the foot by going, we're not the crime family. They're the crime family, the grifters. Dude, what are you talking about, man? You're all crime family. We're all crime family. Everybody wants to be in the Netflix show. Everybody. You're all the thing. Him, me, them. Who's the who? Me, them. Who? You did it. No, he did it. Enough. You all did it. It's a matter of now it's just only who did it worse. Who did the worst thing? I didn't buy a gold phone and the gold shoes. Those are optional. But I did see you smoking crack. And then you told me you didn't smoke crack. That's a big deal. You want to know why it's a big deal? Because if it wasn't suppressed for the 2020 election, that would have swayed a lot of votes. That one of the presidential candidates' son's is smoking crack, and there's this laptop with stuff. Which is hilarious, because despite seeing all the photos, videos, evidence that these things existed and the laptop was real, everyone was like, it's not real. What are you talking about? Here's this video of him smoking crack. Is that really him, though? No, yeah, this is him. It's from the laptop that you're hearing about. I think that's a Russian AI video or something. All right, conversation's over for that. What are you going to do, though? But he makes a decent point. You know, I don't want the Trump phone. That's why I didn't buy it. I don't know if a lot of people bought it, but it's a huge grift, money grab. There's other people, all this stuff. But stop acting like you're not the one. Stop acting like you're not the one. Seriously. Crack cocaine, buddy. WNBA players want more money again. And that's the biggest switch up you'll ever hear in your life. WNBA players want more money again. And you know what? I'm starting to switch my views here. I used to be on the side of, well, there's not enough money in the league. The league loses money every year. It's subsidized by the NBA itself. There's just no money for these women athletes. They don't put enough fans in the seats, things like that. But it's by the saving grace of Caitlin Clark and her phenomenal play and her ability to put asses in the seats, that this is actually starting to become very, very popular now. And I'm really starting to think differently about this whole thing here. So essentially, WNBA players, they wore shirts that read "Pay us what you owe us" during the All Star game, and people got outraged, of course. And you had all the typical, BS, you know, tweets or X's, whatever you say, from people saying, "Ha ha ha, these women, they want money, and there's not enough money in the league." And I mean, let's just take a look here at the shirts that they're wearing. Pay us what you owe us. Yeah, they all wore it. I think, East and West both wore it, the whole thing. And then you get these guys, man. WNBA 2025 projected revenue 200 million, expenditures 250 million. NBA 2023-2024 latest hard data revenue 11.34 billion, expenditures 8.5 billion. This let's ignore basic economics for the sake of equality shtick has gotten really fucking in trisome. WM players should absolutely get paid their due. Okay, I misread that. I agree with that person. There's there's money there for them. There really is. I don't know what it's like to run the league. I don't know how much the league is making, but I know it's not making that much. Of course, it's not making that much. But there's money there for them. I mean, Caitlin Clark, the face of this league, and again, I'm going to say it again, the saving grace of this league, because it, it wouldn't be this big of a topic if it wasn't for her. It wouldn't be growing as fast as it is if it wasn't for her. I've seen some WNBA highlights over my years of life. She's the only one I've ever seen shoot the ball that doesn't look uncomfortable. That actually looks like she's been shooting a ball her entire life. When they shoot from the chest like this, and they go like that, and they do this, and it's a weird thing. And I'm like, well, I've always said, I'm like, if you practice enough, like, won't you just be able to shoot like the NBA guys? And there you go. Exhibit A, Caitlin Clark, for the love of the game. She balls out of control. She balls out of control. She's a superstar. And she's she's like what Michael Jordan did for the NBA. She's doing the same thing. She's bringing a new type of vibe to the league, a new aura, putting asses in the seats. Other players are giving her shit, creating controversy, making it about race. And oh my God, because she's white, that's why everyone loves her. Well, no, there's been plenty of white NBA players, WNBA players. Why haven't they caught on so well? Because they weren't as good. It's about the play. No one cares about that shit. But when you start saying that type of shit, then it causes all this controversy to make it seem like everybody does care. Well, you brought it up, but no one brought it up before you. You know, the Angel Reeses of the world hating. I tend to like her too. You know what? She's got some attitude to her, and she wants to be great, and she wants to play well. I think she's starting to play better. Um, but there's also something I think that's really, really interesting here. So Dave Portnoy weighed in on the matter, of course, being a sportsman, owning sports broadcasting business, all that jazz, and all of his dealings. He made some good points, and he had an interest in buying a WNBA team.
You were talking about on Twitter this weekend as well. I saw your tweet saying, if I could buy a team of 50
So
million,
this
I'd do it
goes
for it.
into, I don't understand the dynamics. They wore those shirts. Pay us what we do. The rookie salary, like Caitlin Clark's salary, is $76,000. Nikki Smokes makes more money than Caitlin Clark. Think about that for a fucking second. The most I think a player gets paid is 250 grand. And a lot of people are like, well, they lose all this money. They don't deserve to get more. Welcome to the real world. Like, if you're losing money, you don't get it. These people are the biggest idiots. And I don't even know what they're coming from. I'm looking at a league now that by every metric is exploding. Like, we're talking about the WNBA. Like me, want to follow it, even though morons in the front office, players are like, we don't want people like that. Crazy in its own right, but ticket sales, merch, ratings, you name it, exploding, quadruple, whatever. They compare to other major sports. Is up. Like they had the right to opt out and renegotiate, or like they don't deserve more money. How are those people? You can use like there's a lot of companies that haven't made money for a long time, whether you're a startup, a tech, you still have to pay talent, big talent, hoping you turn the corner and explode. So my point was, there's nothing I could illustrate more on how much I believe in the league. That if the league let me buy, I would. And I think within 10 years, you're quadrupling. I think teams will be worth at least $1 billion. Like that's what I think the trajectory is. Yes, I get Caitlin Clark is the one who ignited it, but Angel, I don't like her. She's a star. She's actually playing pretty well. Paige Buchas is a star. Juju coming up as a star. Like once you hit this many people, girls are gonna be more interest. I just think going up and up. So if you look at major sports, the value is pretty much how much the franchise is worth. Like when you see people like Celtics sell for 10 billion or whatever, it's like what they pay for it. I don't even know. For three, like the worth is in the value. So I would do that in 3 seconds. In their previous CBA, they had the right to opt out. So they opted out and they have to renegotiate next year. So right now, this is posturing. So obviously, the league owners are going to be like, we're losing all this money because the players are going to say, we want the money. So this is no different than any conflict between players' union and owners. And there's talk of a lockout or whatever. They want more than the 9% share. But people acting like the WNBA is a charity case right now, they're just idiots. They must pay no attention to what's on the league.
Yeah, yeah, extremely well said. It's like any other, it's like any other league. You know, what was the Dallas Mavericks like when Mark Cuban bought it? He bought it for like nothing. And it's you know he's quadrupled his money over the years. The NBA has grown. It used to not be popular, now it is. You know, you can't look at the WNBA and just be like, oh, because it's women, it's not going to be popular. No, it's going to catch on. The players are going to get better. You know, because of players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and everybody else that he mentioned. I don't know. That's all. It's the only two I know. But you know, maybe I'll start watching. I don't know. Probably not yet. But I can see the potential. You can't write this off. Can't write this off. It's like any other sports, especially in this country. Um, you know, who like if the WNBA folded tomorrow and ceased to exist, like would that like whoever's sitting around and rooting for that is a psycho. Who would want that? You know, these women just want to play basketball. And, you know, there's people that like to watch it and coaches and you know, young girls that love basketball and, you know, maybe they look at the WNBA and they're like that could be fun and you know, so these are trailblazers and it's just like anything else. Sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to look at the bigger picture and you got to have a sense of history and be like maybe a few years from now like this can continue to grow as it has because it used to be a really big joke clearly is still a big joke. But if you're sitting there laughing and laughing and laughing, other people are going to be looking around you and laughing all the way to the bank, man. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And that concludes everything I had to cover for you today. If you enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way. Thank you so much for joining me. Good night.